This is lesson 8 from the Anatomy of Change series, titled A Problem. I looked online on the word problem, and you'll find things like this. It says a question to be considered, solved, or answered. And they say like math problems, the problem of how to arrange transportation, situation, matter, or person that presents perplexity or difficulty. From DIYtoolkit.org, it defines problem as a deceptively simple task. What at first seems to be the problem is often merely a symptom of a deeper problem. Why are you dealing with the problem? Why are you facing what it is you're facing? Something seems very hard to deal with, and you spend a lot of time thinking about it. But why are you thinking about it? So you see, you gotta ask yourself some questions as you go through this. When did this matter come into my life? When did this difficulty show up? How did it arise? Where did it come from? Who or what is responsible for this? Is this something I should work to solve, or is this something I should leave alone, or at least for a little bit longer? Sometimes something that seems like a problem to you might not be fixed in the normal way that you might approach another problem. That's why up above it says a problem is a deceptively simple task. Sometimes something seems so big, and the way to deal with it is actually something simple and something, for want of a better word, in reverse that you would do. Like if the pot is boiling over, what's in it on the stove, you would move the pot itself, and you may turn down the stove as well. Sometimes you just move it off for a little bit and then put it back. But if the sun is hitting you too hot, like on a hot day, middle of the day, and you're in your car locked up, it's very, very hot day, the sun is just too hot for you right then, you can't move the sun the way you would move the pot or turn down the burner, right? You can't move the sun or turn the sun down. But in this case, you would handle it a little different. You would be the one to move. Like you can move your car to some place where there is some shade. That's one way you can handle it. Or you could just get out the car and go someplace else. Go in a building where it's cooler. So you can handle the problems in different kinds of ways. But I want you to think of a problem as being a simple task. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't tough problems in life that, really, really difficult to handle. But I'm more focusing on most of the, general problems that we have. But it still extends into the tough ones, because the tough ones, once you begin to change your mind and see that most of the problems that you deal with in life are not there to destroy you, then you will find a better way to handle the bigger problems in life. Now, think that if the Creator meant to just destroy you, why would He have created you in the first place? But also, why would He just make you and give you like a massive amount of problems to just take you out? So then you can begin to change your mind in this Anatomy of Change series to thinking that most problems, unlike what we have been cultured to think, are not there to destroy us or to make us worse or just to give us grief. Of course, there's times when people are going to do stuff to you, create problems, whatever. But I'm talking about most of the problems that you're going to just encounter normally in life. You're going to find that a lot of times there's something you can do to move through the problem that you're facing in a much better way than you used to think? Is it possible to reframe the problem in another way? To come at it from another point of view, to look at it different? Like to say, let's say if you are 40 years old now, you can think of people your age going through this problem and what they do. But try to reframe it in a different way, put it in a different setting. One of that setting could be time. What if this problem had come to me at a different time in life? Like when I was 20 years old instead of 40. How would I have handled this? Would it have been as big a problem as I'm thinking of it now? You've got to understand that when you're younger, your body will even feel differently. You might have had different friends at the time. You might have lived in a different city or state or so. And so different variables will help you to approach a problem differently. So sometimes we get stuck longer in life because we're coming at the problem that we're facing with everything that is real about our condition right now. But try to look at it in a different way. What if the problem came up at a different time of day? Or what if I try to think of the problem at a different time of day or night? And what if it came to me when I was younger? Or when I am older, how will I likely handle this? Or how would I like to handle this when I'm older, when I'm smarter, when I'm wiser, when I've learned more? What's the end result I want when I'm older, looking back, thinking of it? Because that might change the way you handle it now. Because maybe when you're older, you'll say, maybe I shouldn't have handled it like that. But if you can think of what you might feel like later on in life, you might then think of it differently now. And that might prompt you with different solutions. Look at the word problem now from the etymology dictionary, etymonline.com. It says late 14th century, a difficult question proposed for solution. And you can think of that word there, proposed, as being like suggested for solution. You know, it's presented to you for solution. So when you start to break down a problem now, as you're looking for change in your life, don't look at the problem as something that's there to stop you in life. That doesn't mean things won't change in your life because of the problem and because of the solution you apply to it, or the solution that gets applied for you. Because you think you have to solve all your problems. Sometimes a problem will solve itself by whatever else is going on in life or even in nature. Like you can have, let's say you have, let's pick something really big now. Let's say you've got, let's say you got $20,000 and you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna buy a car, but then you're thinking, I'll just spend $4,000 and fix up this one I have. But you're not quite settled. You figure, oh, maybe I'll just whatever. And so you're going both ways. And you're making this thing out into a big thing. Like that might sound ridiculous, but I'm trying to show you, because you're thinking, well, if you got $20,000, it's easier to either just decide to fix or get another vehicle. But that's exactly what we do to the problems in life. We make a big deal out of them when we have other possible solutions. Sometimes you don't feel you have any solutions, but sometimes you've got at least two options, like in this case with the car. You've got some money and you're battling over it until the thing balloons into something else. Next thing you know, you spend off the money and whatever, and then you're still left with the car that's not repaired or replaced. But even if you've got a car problem and you don't know what to do, what if some natural disaster occurs? And again, I'm thinking far up, but don't try to wipe out things too easily, because you limit yourself by saying certain things are just far out in life. Life has near things and far things, far out things. And so you reduce your capacity, might I say, for want of a better way of putting it, to move into a possible solution when you think this or that is far out. Creation, life, earth, existence is a far out idea. To think that someone or something, some being would have created all that we see with stars and water and everything. Like, can you imagine if you just found yourself existing, just living as the first set of people on earth? Let's say there were 1,000 people created at first on earth, and all these 1,000 people were living for a time on a certain land, a certain part of the earth, and they've never seen any water life. They go down to the seaside, they don't go out far, they haven't explored water yet, they've been exploring the land and so on, but they can use the water for their needs. And then all of a sudden, after living together, this 1,000 people, one day they see something coming up out of the water and dipping back in, coming out, dipping back in. They've never seen sea life before. They just knew there was water. So it begins now to put something in their mind. This is strange. This is odd. It's far out. They've never known life to be in the water. They've only seen life on the land. Like they've got the animals there and they themselves. But now a far out idea of some creature, some life form in the water. So life has all kinds of far out stuff. So when you think, oh, that's just so far out, you are limiting your creativity. You're boxing yourself in way too much. So be free to think, be free to explore in your mind, your feelings, your thoughts. Look around in life and see what goes on around you in new and different ways. So it says a question proposed or suggested for solution. So then now you have to think that a problem is not something that's meant to stop you. It's more just something that's there for you to come up with a path to walk, a path to move on. So it's not a stopping, but it's a path to move on. You're going down that path in life and you say, oh, this is a problem, I can't go any further. No, it doesn't mean that necessarily. So restate that problem now so that you can look at it as being, this is just letting me know that I should think differently about how I will proceed. So a problem is basically like a question. What will I do from here? How will I approach it? How will I move on? So then see a problem as one of the steps needed to progress. If you're climbing a hill and you reach a stone or a tough spot that others are climbing past and they're going at the top of the hill and getting over there to wherever you're all going, but you are stuck right there, you got to stop seeing that as a problem, because obviously others are doing it, and if you intend to go, now if you stop and turn back, then that's a problem with intention. Do you really intend to go to the top or to the other side? Obviously no, because you stopped, you pulled back, you turned around. But if you intend deep inside, not no surface stuff, but if you intend deep inside to get to the other side of what you're dealing with, you're going to approach that, what you look at as stoppage, not as stoppage or a problem, but as something you need to address just in order to get to the top, to get to the other side of where you're trying to go. So that funny shaped stone, all it means is not that you should stop, but that you might have to make a funny kind of step. That's not the normal steps you have been making while climbing. You normally just reach up straight ahead and you hold on to something to pull yourself up while you step in the regular way. You might now have to reach a little over to the left or right to grab in a different way maybe using up a little bit more muscles in a different kind of way in your arm and your body in order to proceed. So difference in your path does not mean that a problem is saying you should stop, but that you might have to exercise different muscles, use different muscles, use your body, fit your body a different way, contort yourself a different way to get there. Change your thoughts in a different kind of way to get to where you want to go, to see the change that you wish to see in your life. So this part is just another differently arranged part of the hill that you must step upon or around or over differently. So you see, the problem is just telling you you must step differently. You must proceed differently. That's all the problem is. It doesn't mean this is the end of the road. For whatever it is in your life you're dealing with, it does not necessarily mean. Now, I'm not saying there aren't times in life when you're going to stop and turn back for some kind of reason. But I just think that sometimes we give up too easy. If there is a dream inside of you that you really, really feel strong desire for, strong passion to do this stuff, why are you giving up so easily all the time? You have to find a way to do something about that fire that has ignited inside of you. And you don't know where it came from, but it's there and it won't go away. You have to find a way to step around it or over it differently. So this rock in your path, you've been stepping on the dirt, the hard dirt, and grabbing onto trees and so on to climb up. Now you see a rock. All that means is that now you will step on a rock. Instead of seeing the rock as stopping you, you just need to find a way to step on the rock to continue to go up some more. Now, finally, in seeing the problem different, you have to see the problem not as what we'd usually call a problem, but see the problem as an advantage. This next problem is just another step out of the total number of steps that your journey is made of. Reach beyond the up-close thoughts that quickly, normally, usually come to your mind to reach the deeper, covered over thoughts in your mind that don't always reside at the surface. Reach beyond those upfront normal thoughts that allow you to continue to say, this is a problem, this is a problem. Reach beyond those thoughts so that you come out of it thinking this is not a problem anymore. This is an advantage. An advantage that allows you to understand that this thing I face is not another problem in my life. It's an advantage, an opportunity for me to do something a little different than I've been doing. Rename it to the reality of what it is. It is an advantage. Stop calling it a problem. See it as an advantage. Once you see it as an advantage, the real you inside that generated the desire to get to the other side will show you how to use this advantage as you take another step to reach your goal.